Hey, we're live. No, I'm kidding. That doesn't count because I'm not in frame, so the clap doesn't do anything.
Oh,
Okay, so
I was just having
you'll do
fun.
the intro, Stively, and then we'll just start.
Oh, did you just actually just call me Stively? Oh. Hey guys, Justin here. Recently, guys.
Have you seen Q&A?
Yes, and anime is weird. That was
Oh,
an
really?
old upload. Yep.
Wow,
We've got a fan.
got a bandit. Hey guys, Justin here. I'm back with another video. Today I'm here with
Sarah.
And Ryan.
Sarah and Ryan. Yeah. Today we're going to be discussing our takes on the new Marvel film, Black Widow. Hey, want to start us off, Ryan?
What was the story?
Yeah, Ryan. What was the story?
Okay. Set after the events of Civil War and before the events of Infinity War, Black Widow is on the run from the government after the events of the Sokovia Accords, and she is forced on an adventure with the demons and the relatives of her past after an attack from a mysterious figure. Wow, what were your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to preface this by saying I'm not a Marvel connoisseur. I'm a big fan. I'm just not too
Knowledge.
There you go.
But very passionate still.
Yeah. I actually really liked the movie. I thought it was a cool, very I liked obviously female lead, and I also really liked the whole family aspect about it.
Yeah, I can relate. I think the strongest point about the movie was the family aspect. I liked it, I enjoyed it, and looking back, there are things that I didn't think about before that really add to it. But on first viewing, I don't think it's the strongest Marvel film, and I wasn't very excited about it. But I still think it's a solid movie, and I enjoyed it.
That's valid. Yeah, like Ryan, going into the film, I had pretty low expectations, truth be told. On my way there, I was debating whether or not to go home. I had no expectations for the film. And, with that being said, I was impressed. It was a solid Marvel film. Obviously, it's the MCU, so the bar's pretty high. They've had some amazing, incredible movies throughout their past, a strong legacy, so it's kind of hard to top that and compete. But as a standalone film, I think it was a pretty solid watch. I enjoyed it. There were definitely some strong parts of the film, a couple plot holes that we might get into later. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed the film.
Some weak points, too.
Definitely some weak points, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
And I think that, especially being one of the first movies back, at least for me, being back in the theater, I think it was a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
You get so much from being with other people, with the big screen and the black, no distractions. And I think that added a whole layer of magic that I didn't know I was missing. And I think it's just good to have Marvel back. Well, with those brief judgments, should we get into spoilers?
Yeah, for sure. Let's hop into spoilers. Darn it.
All right.
So first aspect of the film that I guess we'll touch on is the plot. So what did you guys think of the plot, and how strong was that?
I think that the plot was very basic. It was standard Marvel fare. And looking back, I don't think it was very unpredictable. I think it was pretty predictable, especially leading up to the final battle. If we're in spoilers.
Yeah.
I think, well, for one, I think it was not paced very well. I think the final battle was very rushed. I think coming there, I was not ready for it. I think it could have used some build-up. And then during the final battle, I think it was very predictable. And there weren't many turns that I wasn't expecting, not many surprises, and not many points where I really felt tension for the characters. I knew that they were going to succeed.
And also the last battle being rushed, and then in comparison to the intro is pretty long and drawn out.
Yeah, talk about the montage with the music.
The intro?
The intro montage.
Yeah.
I think that went on very long, and I was getting kind of bored. I think we didn't need so much content to get us back to speed, and yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But to play devil's advocate here, I think for those who maybe aren't familiar with Black Widow's story and how she came to be a hero, obviously it was a very long intro, but I think for those of us who may not have been familiar, because I wasn't I kind of needed a refresher on how did Black Widow, like, why is she an Avenger? Because you have people like Thor on the team, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, these really strong people with incredible stories, and then you have Black Widow, who to many might just seem like a normal human, right? So why would she be on the team with these super powerful beings? So I think it was interesting that introductory scene. It was.
I think I would actually argue that is important to establish why she's on the team, and I would actually argue that that's not answered for me from this
You don't
movie.
think so?
No, I don't, and I think
think-
especially the montage didn't accomplish that.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of flashing.
I wasn't saying for the movie because,
Yeah.
well, I won't go too hard on Black Widow, but she wasn't my favorite Avenger, is what I'll say. But specifically talking about the introductory scene, the like montage where they were showing the credits, the the earlier scene in the movie, I think that the reason that was so long was to, tell her story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that scene was more like the montage. It was more to establish like the Black Widows.
Yeah.
I think it was less about like her like
Yeah.
specifically. I think it was more to establish like what they were in like a quick way, and I think they accomplished that, but it could have been shorter, and I was getting annoyed.
Yeah, like I feel like I was going in with very little context,
Yeah.
so I thought like in overall it was like followable without having
Yeah.
seen all the movies up until that point chronologically. So I think you're right. Like I feel like the long intro helped
But
kind
not
of.
not for like it didn't help.
Not well.
It didn't help you
I think
understanding her context in the timeline. It helped
Yeah.
establish like what the Black Widows
Yeah, I
were.
kind of was like, because at the end of the
Yeah.
movie, I was still like, where
Yeah.
in the line
Yeah.
did this happen?
You still got something out of it. But
Yeah.
I think. Well, do you guys think it didn't need that sequence? Because I think it was definitely crucial to the structure of the film. Without that, it would have been a lot more confusing.
Yeah, I think it
Regardless
needed
of
it.
how extended it may have been.
But actually, I think the film needed it to establish the Black Widows as like this organization run by like that, like this Russian empire. But I think that because it's such a big part of the film, they could have monopolized on it and like actually fleshed it out in like the movie and not like a montage that seemed kind of out of place.
Instead of like flashing images.
Yeah, they could have put more time to it because it's pretty important and pretty compelling as well.
Yeah.
And I think, like in general, like throughout the film, it was pretty underutilized. Like, you had the Red Room, which they go to, and like all the agents. But
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more about like, I don't know. You see Yelena, like her first sequence, like doing a mission. I would have liked to see more of that to just like establish like the
Definitely.
danger, the
Yeah.
danger of the Black Widows, and like they're a force to be reckoned with.
Because that scene is basically like she's chasing that one girl and then like she like sprays her and then like she's not
Yeah.
a villain anymore. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like pretty quick.
Yeah, the stakes were super low from the start. At first, I didn't know who either of those people were. I didn't even understand, like, oh, that's who that is. Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, the stakes were very low. But
I mean, in terms of the action in that sequence, I felt suspense. Like with the knife, I felt danger in the knife. I just felt like I wanted to see more about like the Black Widow's missions.
Yeah, there wasn't much context to like what they were trying to stop an old former widow. It was
Yeah.
confusing like what the goal of that mission
Yeah.
was, and then it ended very quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, which goes along with like my point that the pacing wasn't the best. I don't really know what they could have done to make it better, because, yeah, I don't know. What did you guys think about the characters?
I think the characters were the best part of the film. Specifically, of course, now I'm forgetting his name. But
David Harbour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David
Mhm.
Harbour,
Red
Alexi.
incredible,
Yeah,
Alexi,
yeah.
aka Red Guardian.
Yeah, yeah.
incredible actor, and he was so fun.
Agreed, yeah.
Watching
Yes,
him. And I
yeah.
think he embodied the character. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know because I could be wrong, but I think he gave off he played the role very well. I don't know how true that was to the character Ryan, because Ryan's a big comic guy.
Yeah, I don't know about this Red Guardian. I'm not really well versed in the Black Widow history, but I agree with you that he was a standout character. I think the comedy in the film, like as a whole, was very strong. I think that was one of the things that made the film enjoyable. Even like Red Guardian was definitely a standout, but even the mother, I'm forgetting her name.
Melina?
Yeah. How do you know?
I did my research.
Even her comedy and her character was very well done. They could have went with like a more basic like motherly character, but instead they went the route where she's like kind of detached and like very scientific and like mathematical in her thinking, not very empathetic, but also never mind. She's very not empathetic, but she learns to appreciate her family. I think they gave a lot to that character that they didn't have to, and it made her a lot more compelling and funny too. To see her play off
Definitely.
everyone.
Yeah.
Even what's her name?
Which
Sister?
one?
Yelena.
Yeah.
She's very funny too.
And yeah, I like.
She
those
plays
little
the
bits.
younger sister that wants to live up to her older sister well. And in the context of like being like a spy and like doing action, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
In terms of characters, what did you think of the villain or the villains?
Was it intentional that Taskmaster didn't speak? Like, could she not?
I think it was intentional because, like, in the end, it's the reveal that it's his daughter.
That's true. I mean, I don't know how they could have her speak, but like, I feel like that was like weird that there was no dialogue between.
I feel like it made it more intimidating, like
It's-
just to have like a big hulking figure.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, agree, but I think they kind of, I don't want to say wasted, but the villain was kind of underwhelming, going along with the stakes, like I said earlier.
That's why she didn't speak. And
What about
maybe she
Draco,
couldn't
though?
either because she was mind controlled.
And
right?
burned. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was like being like she had the mind control.
Yeah.
So she wasn't controlling herself.
Yeah, one thing that was cool about her though, like the whole, I mean, I guess this is like what the character is, but like the mirroring the
Abilities. and
yeah,
fighting
like
style.
like fighting style.
Yeah.
I thought that was like cool. Like there was the picture, like I guess the frame of the two of them fighting on the bridge, and when they both did like the pose, like that was like cool. Like
Yeah.
watching that.
Yeah. I think they did a good job with his stunts, and like in that regard they did the character justice because I do know that from his in the comics it's a guy and he's usually a Spider-Man villain, but that's beside the point. He's known for being able to like take other people's like fighting styles, and he has like a photographic memory, and that's they did pay that off in the movie. So, and like stunt wise they did pay her off, but they did change a lot about her background.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah,
she's
'cause
not usually his
It's a different
daughter,
person, yeah.
and she's usually not really associated with Black Widow, at least from what I know.
I feel like it was stronger that like the Taskmaster like was who she was. Like Draco felt like he didn't have a purpose to be the leader of this big empire other than like having power.
Yeah.
But like Taskmaster having like that sort of vengeful feel was like I think beneficial for the character.
Without Taskmaster, it would be very weak as a
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
But I think, in the context of having the daughter, he served his purpose.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know about the comics, but I would assume that he plays a much larger role than just being this guy that wants power and controls the Black Widows.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Mm.
I feel like, yeah, I agree with you. They definitely could have like given him some more character.
Yeah. That goes along with like the family theme of the film, because obviously those two, the Dracoff you said,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Taskmaster,
Yeah,
were
yeah.
related against the other family who were direct opposite, which is an interesting parallel, so
Yeah.
to speak,
Mm.
that you might,
Yeah. Or what?
let's think, is there anything we're missing? Like,
Characters?
of the characters? Any notable performances? Oh, Ryan, you could talk about that
Oh,
one
the
guy.
British guy.
Yeah.
Mason.
So, in the film, we're introduced to this British character who I don't remember his name.
Something Mason.
Okay. Something Mason. We'll just call him Mason. And he kind of pops up out of nowhere when Black Widow has no home. She kind of goes to him. We've never seen him before in the universe. And it's kind of treated like we should know him. But besides that, I think that's understandable. She can have a life outside of the movies, so I think that's understandable that she would know someone like him. it was kind of off-putting at first because it was unexpected. We don't know who he was. He's
Yeah.
kind of prominent on the poster too, so it's kind of weird. But anyways, he's there. He supplies her with equipment and a ship and transportation, and a home or a shelter. She goes on her mission. She comes back, and he comes back in the end with a new plane. And that's it. That's all we see of him. He's charming. He's very funny.
Was there
He's
supposed
witty.
to be like some sort of romantic thing happening between him and Black Widow?
I think it's friendship.
I know, but
said
it
was
seemed like
friendship.
I don't. Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Black Widow has. I feel like that with a lot of the characters.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I agree. Like, well, in the first Avengers, she's very good friends with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the comics, they've had a relation. Oh, I just want to say, Hawkeye. Never mind. This is about
Oh.
Hawkeye.
This is a footnote, but we'll talk about just so we
End.
remember, we'll talk about the end credit scene later.
All right.
Okay. Separate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. And then also in Age of Ultron, she has like actual relations with Bruce Banner.
The hope.
But yeah, in the first Avengers, you can kind of interpret it as like
Oh,
romantic.
Yeah.
But
But this
Uh,
guy is pretty random. Mason.
yeah, and they never touched on like Black Widow and Hulk's relation like in the
In the
movies
film.
after Age of Ultron.
Oh.
Well, not in this
Mm.
film. It wouldn't, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of something Marvel did, and they never touched on it again. I think for the better.
That's
And after Age of Ultron, there wasn't any space for it. With
Yeah.
Infinity War and Endgame, there was so much going on. How could you fit in like? Well, they did actually in Infinity War when they first reunite. It's kind of awkward. He's like,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
she's like, hey. So I think they did a good job with that. I think there was nothing really going for that relationship, so I think they did a good job handling it. But yeah, to get back on topic, I think it was just another
Okay.
character.
And I think
to have
it's-
some perspective.
Yeah. I think it's beneficial that they didn't have any
Mhm.
romance in this movie, especially like female-led movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that. The center was that she was like a powerful superhero rather than being
Yeah.
in love with some guy. I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It shows that like she can be independent. And I
Mhm.
also think, in like all the Marvel movies, there's not like a love arc for any of
Yeah.
their solo movies besides Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Mm.
But that's in their characters,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So, yeah, it's good that they didn't try to force something, especially when we know her character so well.
Yep.
It would feel out of place. So.
And, well, yeah, I guess at the end we know her story is not continuing.
not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, going back to that character, he did feel out of place. He did feel out of place. It was kind of off-putting how he just showed up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
The way he was introduced was
Yeah.
really was
Like we-
weird to me.
He was
like
in
they expected that we know.
bed.
Yeah, and
knew.
she just
She was
kicked
like, "You're
him.
in my bed."
And I was like, what? Is this like some homeless guy? She like beat him up or something?
Yeah.
And then he ended up, not really a vital role, but he ended up, being
Mhm.
playing a recurring role throughout the film.
How many scenes? Must have
Two
been in
scenes.
like
Two
two.
scenes.
Yeah, that's
Well, there
it.
In the
was-
beginning,
yeah.
when he gives the supplies, and then the end when
There's
he gives
also
her
the
ship.
instance where those two were with Black Widow's sister.
That was with the helicopter. There was that one, and then there was
Oh,
like the end
Well,
scene when
maybe
she returns with the blonde
a couple
hair.
scenes, but
Yeah.
not
So like
many.
3 max. which
Only
is,
when
like,
he's
Yeah,
useful.
in terms of the yeah,
they
exactly.
used it.
But
But he got them the
yeah. But anyways, I think it's hard, especially with a character that's been over the span of like, I think it's hard like with the tapestry of like Marvel, how we know these characters and these stories so well. It's kind of hard to like introduce a whole new character and expect us to be like not okay with it, but expect us to like be comfortable with it. Like
Mm.
it just feels like we know this world and there's nothing else to it.
Mhm.
So it feels kind of weird to see new stuff. But I think in the long run, looking back, I don't think it's a problem at all. And I was actually thinking about this character, and he had purpose. He wasn't just random to have another character. When he first comes, or when he first is introduced, his purpose is for Black Widow to like, well, overall, his purpose is for Black Widow to like speak her character growth. And I know that's kind of lazy, but it's a way for the writers to like show that how she's changed. So like in the beginning, I remember she says to him like, well, I had this family, but it didn't work out. Looks like I'm better on my own, and I don't need friends, like stuff like that. Like, that's how she is in the beginning of the movie. And then at the end, like the final scene with him, she kind of tells him like, well, now I know the importance of family. I have two, and I feel good. Like, it's kind of like that. That's his purpose, like for to be spoken about about her growth.
Have an outlet for that.
Yeah.
Verbal. Yeah.
So looking back now with that perspective, I think they did the best they could do. Like they give him character. He's a friendly guy, a sensitive guy.
Yep.
And he was funny and charming. So looking back, I don't see that as big of a problem for the film as it was.
Yeah.
Initially. Any other characters? What about the characterization of Black Widow herself? Was it good, bad?
What do you mean by that?
Were you satisfied with how she
Her performance?
was? Not performance, but like what they did with her in this movie. Because we've been expecting this movie for so long.
To an extent, it kind of felt like she was passing the baton off to her sister.
Yeah.
Which she is, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of characters, we'll get to her sister because there's actually a few things that I want to touch on. But yeah, it kind of felt like she was passing the baton off to her sister.
Was that a bad thing?
I wouldn't, really say it's good or bad, but I definitely noticed that it played a prominent role in the quality of the film and the direction. Because like you said, a lot of people were waiting for Black Widow, the film, and then, Black Widow wouldn't have been possible without her family, which speaks to the family role. But yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's good or bad.
Because I thought they nailed her character. I think
Her sister or Black Widow?
Natasha, Black Widow. I think they really understood how much the Avengers meant for her. And I thought that, I don't know, I think they did her justice. She had good action scenes, and she showed off all her experience, like being an Avenger, being a spy.
That's true.
I think they did a good job to expand on her background and give her more to do.
Especially like her connection with Dracov's daughter. Like I feel like
That was well done.
like at the end, like
I like that
they
a lot.
didn't have her like kill the character off. Like she was like what's the word?
Empathetic,
to the character. Like that was a
Yeah.
good side to see. I think.
I think the movie showed many sides of Black Widow that we hadn't seen before. Because in like all these movies, there's not that much space. She's always part of another movie. Like she's part of the Avengers. She's part of Captain America. There wasn't space to flesh her out, and I think this movie did a really good job to show other sides of her that we haven't seen. Like you said, the empathy. We haven't seen her interact with like a villain of her own. I guess she hasn't had that opportunity. But also like there was a scene in the movie where she was saying like, I'm not the type of person to like give a speech. Like I think it was interesting to like see her side of things. When usually in the Avengers we usually see like Captain America giving the speeches, like Iron Man giving the quips. Now you see her perspective on like what it's like to be on that team.
Yeah, her being the main character, obviously.
Yeah.
And taking charge, because even like spoiler alert, like we said, she dies in Endgame. But like when she died, she didn't get the big funeral that Tony did.
Yeah.
I'm
The
being
blue
so
hair.
serious when I did not remember what
Blue
you guys were
hair?
talking about at
No,
all.
in the Ohio scene, she has short blue
When
hair.
she was a child?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're talking about?
When else
When
did she
she's
have blue hair?
Hey, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, I do not remember.
You don't
having
remember the blue
though.
hair? You didn't
No, when
notice
she's
that?
a child. Yeah, obviously.
'Cause
But
I
I didn't
remember-
realize that was her at first. I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
that's true.
Because I was like, okay, that might be the sister and her family.
Exactly.
But she has blue hair. Maybe it's someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
and
know.
they never explained it.
Yeah, I don't really
They
know.
don't have to explain everything in movies that
Yeah.
you see.
I
But
don't-
that's something good to ponder on.
I don't totally know when it clicked that it was Black Widow.
Do you guys think it was a design choice, like
They
like a
definitely
conscious
did it
choice?
intentionally.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, do you think there's a deeper meaning to it,
Yes.
or is it just like, oh, Natasha does what she wants, and typically people who dye their hair don't care what people think of them because
Maybe. It also could have been what you said about like they want to keep her undercover because they're all undercover, but
but I
also
don't know,
having
blue
blue hair
hair
will make
doesn't-
you stand
No,
out.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's it.
Especially
Like
like
if you're at school, like you're not gonna see a redhead and be like, well, maybe, but you might see a girl with blue hair. You're gonna be like, oh, watch out for that girl.
What was I about to say?
Like, whoa.
But yeah, you're right.
Like in elementary school, having colored hair.
No,
it's
yeah,
not
that's exactly what I
normal.
was saying. Because, like, yeah, with expectations and people look at
Yeah.
you differently if you do things
Yeah,
like
so-
that.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's right, but generally speaking, that's what'll happen.
Especially like that family was like
They wanted. It was
they were
very
like
basic
Russian
American.
spies living in America. Like
Yeah.
you would try to blend in as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was wondering what you guys thought about that. Like, why? Definitely intentional because that's a big thing.
Something noticeable.
Yeah.
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 I definitely brushed it off. I
Yeah.
don't think it was that big of a choice.
I think it was definitely a choice.
Well,
I
obviously it's
don't
a
know how-
choice. Everything in the film's a choice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just like how in Loki's looked at the camera multiple times. That's obviously a choice. Because in big budget films, this is a tangent, by the way. But I
Sure. I didn't know you watched Loki. You're still on Falcon and Winter Soldier.
dude, let me live.
Oh my
Because
story-wise,
in a
'cause he's
big
going
budget
to the
film, if
TVA.
anybody involved looks at the camera, they do another take. So for the main character or lead to look at the camera multiple times, multiple occasions, here's a montage of Loki looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice. But tangent over. What do you think of it? Well, this isn't Loki review. This is
But
Black
I
Widow.
really like it. Are you up to date?
No, not at all. It's over, right?
No.
Oh. No, it's ended today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't want it to end because it's been so good.
I know.
But I guess.
All good things have to come to an end. You know?
Yep. I feel like after WandaVision, it's only
Just like
been
this
going
video.
uphill.
Press the likes. Sorry, continue on. Just like WandaVision.
I did not think WandaVision.
Would you
was
rank?
good.
How would you rank the three?
As they came out, WandaVision third, Winter Soldier second, and Loki first.
Okay. Anyways, Black to Black Widow.
Yeah.
Um,
The
what-
blue
what
hair,
we touched
still a
on?
mystery. I think they did a bad job explaining. Bad job explaining why. They don't have to explain it, but I think all of us are confused.
You think it was not a necessary choice? They didn't need that.
Well,
Yes, because we
was her
don't.
hair like red?
I think all of us, as pretty smart people, we didn't understand it. So I think it was just distracting in the film. So yeah, I think
That's
it was unneeded.
Ryan, music.
Music. The choice of songs are questionable. I think the choice of American Pie was very good in terms of like the meaning of it, and I also like how they brought it back
Mm-hmm.
because it also is a sad song. Like he talks about dying.
Yeah.
I think it matched like what they were going through in terms of like balancing like I don't know Russian culture and like American like culture and like living double lives and like also living in danger, like they were gonna die almost. But right after that, in the montage, they played a very distracting song.
What was it? Was
It was
In the
Smells
credits.
Like
Like-
Teen
but it was
Spirit,
like a cover.
cover of like some
some. It was a woman cover.
and it wasn't.
Female
I don't know
cover.
why would they do that? Because maybe to emphasize how it's like a woman movie.
I don't know.
But I think it was distracting because why that song? I think it was distracting.
That was more of an ineffective design choice, in my opinion.
Also, just like
'Cause I don't
subjectively,
think-
I didn't think it sounded good. Like
it was like
I don't know, they should have just played like menacing music.
I think it was like purposefully eerie though. I
Yeah.
guess, but I don't know.
No, I didn't see it as eerie.
I think it went well with the.
It sounded like it was trying to be triumphant. Like they had like
Oh, I did not get that.
Oh.
feeling.
I did. Like they had like backing of like like an orchestra like saying just person in like my own opinion. I didn't think it sounded good. Which goes into the other thing is like they didn't have a very, in my opinion, the score sounded generic and distracting. I feel like there were some moments where they didn't need like a chorus. I think it was kind of, and also in terms of like the melodies in some of their themes, it kind of felt like stereotypically like Russian music. I think it was kind of distracting. I feel like they could have dug a little deeper to make some memorable like themes. It felt kind of predictable and stereotypical. And I'm specifically talking about like the chorus, like the I don't know, running it out.
Yeah.
The
Like,
lamentation
you want me to sing
music.
it? They were like
Okay.
I don't know how
believe
to
you.
explain it, but do you
Yeah.
understand? Like stereotypically, like I don't know.
And what did you not like about that? that it was.
It was stereotypical.
Okay.
And like it was very like it's an obvious choice because they have a Russian background.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't need to really like Captain America. You're not playing like I don't know.
Do you think they?
You're not playing like what's in it like Eagles. You're you're playing like a recognizable like music.
Yeah.
It's very good and it's very like exciting because he's action, but in this it felt like that was the first idea that popped into their mind and they just went with it.
Yeah.
They could have went. Did you have any
Cool.
thoughts about the music?
About the music, it didn't bother me. It wasn't noticeably. I think it was. I hate to use this word, but I think it was mid.
Yeah.
Like relatively
Yeah.
speaking, throughout the Marvel, because like we said, Marvel is a powerhouse when it comes to movies, the MCU, and
music.
there have been especially music.
To name a
like
few,
I can name
Black
a
Panther,
lot.
The Avengers, Captain America, all of them.
Yep.
Thor, Ragnarok,
Personally, I really like the music.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
from-
Yeah, I was gonna. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think it was as strong as some other movies, but I don't
Yeah.
think it was that bad.
That's interesting. I thought, like as a music guy, you would have some more
I
stronger
noticed-
opinions.
Well, the thing about that is, I think when it comes to film and that stuff, I was more so focused on the visual aspect. Like,
That's true.
I was watching specifically for the stunts, not watching solely for the stunts, but the stunts were something that stuck out to me. The practical stunts throughout the film, which we can get to. I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't.
Should we?
wanna
Speaking of
switch.
that, should we go to action?
Sure. I know you. Okay. Before we get to that, I think generally the fight scenes and action scenes were well done. They were effective for the most part. My favorite sequence of the film, actually, I still have forgotten her name, but Black Widow, when she fought her
Yelena.
one more time. Yelena. When Natasha and Yelena fought, when they met up inside that house, and then those other Black Widows came and then they all fought. That was my favorite sequence of the film, personally, that I can remember right now. I think the action was good. That scene had some memorable stunts and some effective practical stunts. I don't remember, but I know I'm fairly confident that when they broke through the wall, that was one take, and they did that completely practically. That was real. No.
But then you get to the final battle.
I knew
That
he was going
is
to say
not
that.
practical.
Before we get into that, Ryan, what did you not like about that you said when you were
Action.
okay, not the action, Ryan, that's the whole category. Like, what did you not like specifically about the last battle
The
that you
last
said
battle.
when we were leaving the theater? Like, what part of it? Because it wasn't.
Specifically, what part of it? Just because it looked fake, I didn't have stakes in it. Also, in terms of like the way it played out, it was predictable because you have those twists. Like she's talking to Dreykov about like how she planned it with her mom.
Yeah.
And then Dreykov is like, oh, but you didn't think of the pheromones.
Mm.
But
Oh,
she's
yeah,
like,
but yeah.
oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And then she's just
Yeah, that was
That's true.
That was funny.
so but you thought that was fun. I thought that was weak because that eliminates
Funny,
all
funny,
stakes
funny.
because she was prepared for everything. Like
Yeah.
I would have liked more if she had to like figure her way out of that obstacle. But everything went as planned.
Well,
Besides Taskmaster.
I guess-
more or less, I think. Sorry, Sarah.
That's all right.
You can go.
I guess that I'm thinking that speaks a little bit to the mother's involvement in knowing Dreykov. I think she was really the mastermind behind, like, fooling him into thinking they had some other plan. 'Cause she had an inside
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that
I don't
whatever.
I don't know. I just would have liked to see more conflict
Yeah.
to make it more
Not
scary, more
simple.
I think
danger.
they kind of left us in the dark as well with that part because.
But I think
At
it's
first,
good. I think
thought
the twists were good. I like that. I like being
that's
on
what I'm
the-
saying. That's what the part that I thought was fun. I was like, oh, they planned for that? Sick.
But they might
Yeah.
have planned for too much. That
Think so?
eliminates the
That-
stakes.
Yeah, but
Like the biggest stake that comes from it is the Red Room falling, and that was just Yelena's decision.
exactly.
She said, "Oh, slight change of plans. I will destroy the engine that keeps us."
Yeah,
in the air."
that was because how did they figure out she was in the control room? They like locked her in, she had to go through the vent.
Yeah, he was prepared and he was like, oh.
And then she was
oh,
like surrounded
yeah.
by people and she blew up one of the engines and then
Yeah.
it fell. So I don't know.
Yeah,
That was like
That's
that was really the one
one
issue with their
issue,
plan,
yeah.
which like I guess like that I guess
Could've-
played in
It was good, but could have had more.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
the benefit I guess they had like their air action scenes, like
Yeah.
the skydiving scene.
This is
like,
what I was like trying to lead up to with this discussion, but you were like, that was not grounded, and that's what you said you didn't like about it. I'm totally fine with things not being grounded. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought they did a good job with it, because like you also said, you guys haven't heard, but did we see something like that in a Marvel movie beforehand? I'm trying to think, but have we seen where everything's coming down? There was kind of a sequence like that in Captain Marvel, but not as much.
Kind of a sequence like that in Infinity War, like on Titan, where like I don't know, like Thanos brought a whole planet onto the Titan.
But that was still
not really
grounded
the same.
on the ground.
Kind of Captain America: Winter Soldier, like they're on the helicarriers.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think.
I guess what I'm
so.
saying is never to that magnitude and degree where it's that big and the whole battle's taking place on a falling ship. You didn't like that, huh?
First of all, it looked kind of fake, so that kind of took me out of the movie. I think in terms of like a movie within the whole Marvel tapestry, I think it was good to like set it in something we haven't seen before, because you want to keep it fresh, and it's hard. I understand that, but I feel like in playing to Black Widow's strengths, like it was exciting, but it didn't really feel like something just for her. Like Yelena's falling too. Like it was exciting. It just, the biggest thing that threw me off was it was fake. It looked fake.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that I said when we were in the theater was like the preceding scenes of both Black Widow and Yelena like running away from the explosion, which is like classic, but that was like felt like okay.
Yeah, and then also like when Yelena's like on the plane that Dreykov is on.
Oh,
like, and then Black Widow's like, don't do it. Like that was took me out of the film.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's like a nitpick, but I feel like, what was she saying not to do?
To explode it, because she was sacrificing herself.
Oh yeah, that was unnecessary. She didn't need to sacrifice herself.
Not at all, man.
But then wouldn't Dreykov have gotten away? Is that like fine if that would have happened?
Oh.
Because Yelena somehow was able to destroy that huge ship of both Dreykov in his and survive.
I think that it was a choice, and I respect that they made a choice, but I don't know. Black Widow could have not said don't do it, because like I don't know.
You think that
Oh yeah.
line
Here also
was corny?
I wanted to get back to you on like why I wanted to be grounded, because like earlier in the film we said this, but like we see the bruises from just like running away from Taskmaster, and we say like I need like, what did she say, Tylenol or something after?
Yeah, she's a human, and she's on a team with gods, super soldiers, very strong people, very strong individuals, and the fact that she was able to pull off this feat. What did you say?
Men in armor.
Men in armor.
Monster men.
Ants. A wasp. Aliens.
Yep.
Web-slinging
Raccoons.
teenagers.
Bugs.
But of course, a man with a simple bow and arrow.
But if you told me, hey, you're a human, you're going to be on a team with everybody that we just named, we don't have to get back into it, I'm going to be like, I don't deserve to be on this team. I'm just a human. How am I going to stand alongside a god? All these people.
And they do touch on that, which is good.
They do, which I think
they bring her perspective in the movie.
Exactly, which I think they did effectively. I effectively portrayed her perspective.
Yep. And so, what does that add to the final battle?
The final battle was the fact that you said it was not grounded at all, but to play devil's advocate, you were like, oh, it's so so not grounded that it doesn't make sense. I didn't like it, but the fact that it's so not grounded and she still pulled it off as a sort of ending, stance for Black Widow, Black Widow's character, even though she didn't
make it.
Even though, she didn't make it in the long run. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I guess my problem really isn't with like the concept of it. It was more just the special effects took me out of it. Let's talk about writing, not plot holes.
Plot holes?
Okay, writing. I said this when I was exiting the theater with them. The writing was good.
Yeah, agreed.
The screenwriting was good. The dialogue was very well written.
Agreed.
Very well written. It was engaging. It was authentic, and it was genuine. Like I've mentioned this in my past video essays. Charm is very difficult to nail down and effectively portray. And I think the characters in this film, specifically Alexei, Black Widow's sister, Natasha, the mom, maybe not as much the mom, but they had the charm that is very hard to effectively, nail in these sort of films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also in terms of like writing wise, I think having that family like post book brought back, having the song brought back when Alexi
That was a good
very
sequence.
memorably
That was a
sings
good
it.
sequence.
What else? Having like Black Widow's backstory interconnect with the villain. That was interesting, but that also gets into another point that I kind of want to make. Like, there's so many retcons in this movie to make this story work. It's kind of off-putting. Like,
Ryan, want to explain what a retcon is?
basically, it's when you take something established in the previous movies and you tweak it a little bit to make whatever you're making now make a little more sense and have a little more purpose.
Okay.
That's in my words. And so, I don't know, there's so many that maybe we should just go through them, but like having like Budapest be where she kills Dreykov, and also having Dreykov's daughter be the villain, and also having Dreykov like never mind. And also retconning like her whole family is like super powered. Her dad, or her adopted dad, is a Russian super soldier. Like, just that, and then also her having a sister in the Black Widows too, and then like also just never mind.
Did we know that she had a family from any other movies? Like, did she ever like mention that before? Or has she mentioned like she was
No,
abandoned by her
yeah.
her biological
That's all
mom?
we've heard. So it kind of felt out of place, I would say.
It's just like quite the coincidence that she like left her makeshift family, the Avengers, and then runs into her. But yeah, is this like immediately following Civil War? Like, how long has she been quote unquote on the run?
It seems like it's immediately after.
Okay, so
You think so?
Yeah, because afterwards, like, she has the blonde hair, and it's implied that she's gonna meet up with Captain America and save the people from the raft.
Oh yeah, true.
Which is another, we'll get into that in terms of like context of the timeline, but I feel like all those retcons, even though like from what we've known in the context of like previous films, it might seem out of place, I think it does add to the movie. It brings like all the fun elements that we talked about, the family element, like it does add something, like it had a purpose. It was just strange, and I feel like there might not have been any other way to do it, because what would you have without all these retcons? You would have Black Widow on the run, and she would meet people, but I feel like having this family aspect gives the movie a lot more purpose. So, not really anything you can do ultimately.
Yeah.
Oh, also the retcon of Taskmaster. We went over this before, but he's usually in the comics he's a man. He's not related to Dreykov. He's kind of his own guy. He kind of he learns like the skills of other heroes, and he can mimic them like perfectly. From what I know, this might be totally wrong, but from what I know, he kind of, it's in his name, Taskmaster. He kind of like recruits people. He's like a big villain. He like assembles his own like villain team and does stuff primarily with Spider-Man, but they changed him completely to be the daughter of Dreykov for this movie. I feel like in terms of service of the movie, it definitely worked. And personally, as not really being a big, like, I don't know much about Taskmaster, I'm not that hurt that they went in this direction. I know that maybe some fan of like him in the comics wanting to see him in the big screen and then having him be a totally different character might be disappointing. But for me, I just don't have that connection, so yeah. I have a question for you. So, at the end of Civil War, the final like montage is Captain America's letter to Tony, saying that, you know, we have our differences, but if you want me, you know where to find me. And then it closes on Captain America in the raft, which is the prison for superhumans in the Marvel Universe, looking in, smiling at all the people imprisoned because of the Civil War. Hawkeye, Ant-Man, blank, but yeah, them smiling, and then it's implied that he was rescuing them then. So then why in this movie in the beginning did they say that
I think. Oh, sorry.
They're all
continue.
in prison.
I think I know why. Why did they go right out and say they're in prison, or she has to rescue them?
yeah,
Because it still makes sense to rescue them. Because Infinity War, she had to save Vision.
yeah.
And Wanda.
So I guess that means that in Civil War, when they're like playing that letter, it must have been like some time past. It have to be after this movie where Captain America writes that letter, right? So that means like the end scene of Civil War, where it's with Tony and Rhodey, that must have been like a few weeks after like Civil War actually happened and Black Widow went on the run and did her own thing. That's another retcon, kind of. I don't know if they were imagining that. So I guess it makes sense. Another question I had was, why doesn't she
Just
hook up with Captain America
In where?
in this movie?
Oh, well,
Because they're both on the.
to touch on that,
Mhm.
didn't Dreykov want her to do that? Because his plan was to catch Natasha and then use Natasha against Captain America for his own gain. Whether that means to hold her as a hostage or to send Natasha out for him. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was one of the two. I think just, generally speaking, it's more of a risk to have both of them together rather than for them to be split apart. Because if they're together, I think it's much easier to spot them. This is, once again, generally speaking.
Yeah,
But
maybe. Yeah.
that's just a choice that I think the plot. Because, yeah, I see what you mean, though. That might be a nitpick.
Yeah,
But
that
why
is
did
a
she just call?
pretty.
I feel like.
Because at the end of the movie, she's pretty fine with going to Captain America. But I guess that's the point, because she realizes how much it means to have people in her life.
But
So yeah, I guess it makes.
yeah. So the Red Guardian was like created to counteract Captain America. But why do we know why he was put in prison?
It was implied. He said in like backhand that he like made like insults to Dreykov. Like he said like some like jokes, but like Dreykov is very like strict. So then he
Yeah.
like took offense and then put him in jail.
Okay. So then, yeah, I guess that's interesting. He would try to get Black Widow again to pit her against Captain America.
In like the beginning, she didn't know about Dreykov's plan. She thought he was dead.
She thought he was dead.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but maybe she just thought like it's safer to be separate because we're easier to find together.
Yeah, and I guess if they had worked together, they wouldn't have her standalone film. So.
Yeah. I was almost expecting Captain America to show up at the end.
But I'm
Yeah,
kind of
when-
glad he didn't.
Yeah, I think that made the movie
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have liked to see
Get one more cap.
good old Steve Rogers one more time. I do miss him, but yeah, it does make it stronger. But
Yeah.
in the last scene with the British guy, when he comes with like the plane, it kind of looks like the Avengers plane. I think that's the plane that like they use in Infinity War in the beginning. So I was kind of expecting Captain America to walk out. I don't know
that
why.
would've been nice. That would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
But it's good as it is. The period in between Civil War and Infinity War is so unexplored and also so interesting, because we haven't really seen the effects of like the Sokovia Accords and what it means for like Captain America and his crew to be like divorcing from like the Avengers. What does that mean? What does that look like to have like half our heroes on the run? I think that's really interesting.
Just talk.
What are your thoughts on the White Widow suits?
I know, Ryan, you've got a big opinion on this. I mean, to me, I guess it's not a huge deal.
What about the name though? It's the opposite color spectrum.
Yeah. That,
Totally opposite.
that is
The
true.
exact end of the color wheel.
Maybe you should say something.
Polar
It seems,
opposite.
seems like
Absolute.
you've got something to say.
Ryan, what do you think about the new suits?
The new suits. Okay. Well, after giving it
No,
some
Ryan, the
thought,
old suits, the original
okay,
Black Widow
after
suits.
giving it some thought, I know why they did it. You know why?
Why?
You know why, guys?
Why?
Because, well, in this movie they're setting up Yelena as the new Black Widow. It's pretty clear that they want to pass the baton, as you said.
Yep.
So in doing that, right, they want to separate her somehow. I know she has blonde hair, but she's still like, I don't know. She has the Black Widow suit, but make it a different color, make it white. That way, when she shows up in the Avengers, they're like, ooh, Black Widow, but it's new, it's white, right? And then in like 5 movies, I don't know, she's gonna get the black one, and it's gonna be a big thing. You heard it here first. That's gonna happen.
That's a good call.
And it's gonna be a big event because she's stepping into her sister's suit. But for now, she's a different character. She's the White Widow, but she'll probably be named Black Widow still.
Yeah.
But she'll be in white
That's interesting.
So why do you think Natasha had a white suit?
because it was in the snow.
Oh.
But in terms of why they did it, it's to distinguish Yelena for the future, I think.
After watching Black Widow, I went on Twitter, as one does sometimes, and the majority of things that I've heard about the movie weren't the topics that we've been discussing as they would have been for an Infinity War or an Endgame or a Captain America. The majority of stuff that I was hearing, the majority of feedback was about
Why?
Yelena, just solely about Yelena, and specifically her looks. Now, I won't pull up tweets, but I'm not
God.
kidding when I say, and this is why it's, I want to touch on this, is the majority of things that I was hearing were, and especially on TikTok, people were saying, oh, it wasn't a good movie, but Yelena,
Looked good.
yeah, that's what they were saying. That was the majority of comments and stuff that I was seeing. And so, my point in saying this is, guys, subscribe to Stively, because throughout this whole video, we haven't mentioned that once. So please subscribe to Stively. I need it.
Like, I feel like have you ever seen those videos? It's like interviews with the Marvel cast, and it's like everyone only asks Scarlett Johansson about like her suit.
Uh-huh.
She's like,
Yeah.
how do you fit
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the suit? Like, it's like that.
Mhm.
Like, it's like always happens, I feel like. And it sucks, obviously, but I don't know.
That's the thing. Like throughout this whole journey with her, there's always been like that thing about, like I don't know, misogyny
Yeah.
woven through. But I feel like, yeah, this is kind of a different point. But like in comparing it to Captain Marvel,
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I really
Way better movie.
Yeah,
From
I was gonna say that.
Everything about this movie was better than Captain Marvel, respectfully.
I also think it's because we know her and we like her character.
And Captain Marvel was just like
No.
at the end to fight. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's valid. That's valid. Because we don't like.
And you don't like
Yeah, because
WandaVision.
Oh, I haven't seen WandaVision.
Oh my god.
But the reason I had
Half
low
vision. He's a
expectations
guy.
going into this
He's a
movie,
man.
and this is
That's
going to be
true.
another Stively video essay, so I might not even put this in a video. But I think you have to have low expectations going into whatever you're doing, because personally, my favorite movies of all time, I've had no expectations going into. I thoroughly enjoyed Venom. People said the movie was terrible. Ryan specifically did not enjoy that movie.
I have
And
never
we've had
seen
this
it.
conversation.
What are you talking about?
Oh, well, he said the trailers look bad.
Yeah,
Which
I judged it by its cover. I had high expectations for anything Spider-Man related, so yeah, my bad. Being pleasantly surprised by something is better than not liking
being
something.
let down.
Just live positively. Look at the bright side.
Now that's the way to end
Guys,
the
just
video.
live
No,
positive.
no, no.
Just when something bad happens in life, remember what Ryan said, live positively. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.
No. We're gonna rank it in comparison to the rest
I don't
of the
know how I
MCU.
could participate in this, but
Okay.
Ryan, you could take this one, because there's some Marvel movies I still haven't seen.
In my opinion, it might be on the lower spectrum because of all the points we've discussed, not because it's a woman. I think
Glad
it's
to
very
hear
important.
that.
It's a very important movie. It's better than
the
Far
Wasp.
From Home.
You didn't like. See, this is why this is good, because Ryan and I have very different tastes.
you know they're
in movies.
dating now?
Really?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh yeah.
What?
Zendaya and Tom Holland.
Good for him. Good for her.
That's good. Good for the
that's a
MCU.
power
Good
couple.
for.
Good for the next movie because they're
Whoa!
gonna have better chemistry.
That's true.
But,
She's
yeah.
so much taller than him.
Dude.
Sorry.
do you think it's because of Spider-Man?
I mean,
Has
they've
to
worked
be.
together, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably how they met.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine
when
if
you
you
spend
got-
that much time together on set, I'd be surprised if you don't like the other person.
That's
you're working
true.
with. Well, it's
I'm happy
no, don't
because of that. That's cool.
That's a good. Yeah, you're right. It is a power couple.
very power couple.
Whoa, what was I gonna say?
Sorry. Ryan.
Better than Far From Home, in my opinion. But you liked Far From Home.
I like yeah.
Would you say it's better than Thor: The Dark World?
I don't think I've seen it. No, yeah, way better. You kidding me?
Really?
Yes, definitely. Respectfully, guys, this is my opinion. So opinions are these things that people. Well, you say no,
liked-
huh?
I liked Asgard. I like seeing gods. I just find that very interesting, just from a visual aspect, seeing all their suits and like the I don't know what that thing is, like the organ-looking building from Asgard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like
yeah,
a
yeah.
triangle. That's very iconic. It's just cool to be in that world, and that's just something that someone as grounded as Black Widow doesn't have. So that's why I kind of like Thor: The Dark World better.
So
But
you're saying it's more of a character thing, personal preference, rather than
yeah,
the quality
world
of the
thing.
film?
Yeah.
it's valid.
So I would say that. What else is it better than?
Continue.
You
Ryan.
think
I
it's
won't-
better
I
than
won't go
Captain
for the
America: The
tangent.
First Avenger?
That was one of the best Marvel movies in my opinion.
I mean, it's mixed, but I agree that it's one of the best. So we would say it's lower. What about Iron Man 2?
Yeah, better.
Really?
Yeah.
You think this one's better?
That's interesting.
I
Her
have no-
first movie and her last movie.
I think her
Man 2.
performance in this one was better.
I think her
Obviously,
hair
had a
in
more
Iron
dynamic-
Man 2 is better. Not. It was more interesting because it was like curly.
Looks over here.
No, not her looks, but
No,
But her
not
hair.
her look. Oh, I heard such a good quote today.
What was it?
It was like, if you spend your whole life trying to make a living, you forget to make a life, or something like that.
Damn,
I just butchered that.
that's deep.
It's my 2 cents, guys. Kidding, that's not me. Shout out Mike Malak. Post credits, Ryan.
Fanny long
You have-
bottom. That was the dog.
what?
She
Sarah,
named
Sarah, this is a PG channel, please.
she named the dog after the alias that guy Mason
What?
gave her.
Like, please.
What dog?
The dog in
remember
the
the
post
dog,
credit
Ryan?
scene that she opens the door and the dog hops out.
What?
Nice.
But the main point is that there's a mysterious character played by Seinfeld's Elaine, who is recruiting Yelena for some task, which is to kill Hawkeye for something he didn't do. She's kind of deceiving her in that sense. So, which is why I think Elaine is more like a villain. I think.
But she's already been working for this woman. It seems.
I don't know why
Yeah.
or how, and I don't even know who she is.
Dude, exactly. I don't want to say that, but I was watching. I was like,
Yeah.
"Who is this woman just
And
blowing her
we
nose
were all
mad loud
no,
on the camera?"
none of us know.
You
I know.
don't-
Have you
didn't you
finished
say you
Falcon
watched
and Winter
these
Yeah,
Soldier
she
yet?
said she's on one of the shows.
She does the exact same. That's a spoiler.
Oh.
Whatever.
Wait,
You're,
She does
okay.
the exact same thing.
Don't tell me who.
She just walks up, and then she's like, "I got a mission," and then that's it. Like,
No, actually.
it doesn't. There's nothing explained yet.
Go inside.
Well, does she walk up? Like I
I mean,
thought
no,
I saw
that's-
something. There was something. She just like appeared out
she's
of nowhere.
blowing her nose, and it's really annoying.
You said no, but when she popped up on screen, you said she's so annoying.
Yep.
How do you know? What
Yeah,
have
how
you
do
seen
you
her
know she's
from?
very
before?
annoying, Ryan? What are you not telling us?
No.
Is that not annoying?
No, but
Yeah, I was referring to her
The sh-
performance in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
okay.
She just shows up out of nowhere, and it's kind of like she's.
She's just
Cutting
plays
into something.
The annoying color.
But we'll see as it goes. Because when I see her, I kind of think of like Nick Fury, of how like in Iron Man, he's like at the end credit scene, he's like recruiting Iron Man. It's kind of the same. It's like a parallel.
Oh, that's what you mean.
But like in comparison to Nick Fury's like cool and stuff, and she's just blowing her nose. That's what I mean by like annoying.
Whoa, guys.
I'm excited because
Yeah.
of the character they include at the end, which is Hawkeye.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to see
iPad.
Yelena and Hawkeye in his own solo TV show, which is
Now
coming
a
soon
little
to Disney+.
known
So-
background on Ryan. Ryan is a big fan of Hawkeye.
Just thought I'd mention that.
Yes, I think just like Black Widow, he brings the perspective of the human amongst gods, and I think they touched on it, right? But especially in the comics, he brings a lot more humor, and there's a lot more to his character that are not touched on in the movies. So I'm happy. I'm excited to see him more fleshed out in the TV show.
So okay, that'll be in the TV show.
Yeah. And that's about it.
Talking
That's
about
our thoughts on Black Widow.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below. If there's another movie coming out that you'd like us three to review, don't do that. No, yeah, as like all jokes aside, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Means a lot. I've been uploading relatively, consistently. So it's weird. Yeah, peace guys. Stay hydrated.
Step on the scene, same drip, so they stay stressing. The lesson man I never said, so they stay guessing. A deficit too great, so they pray a lesson. It's evident, go and ask, no I bring the best in. Now my future's so bright that it's radiant.